the straight ref debate, i.e., it is okay for you to concede the negative framework.
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm good.
Okay. Interpretation. Both debaters must defend an advocacy with a unique framework violation. You didn't read a unique framework. You just conceded to my framework standards. 1. Philosophical education. A point is philed best happens with a clash of ethical theories because the dialectic comparison allows for unique education in LD, but Neg straight ref deliberately kills this. Also, straight ref allows Neg to not prep an NC, which is bad since a substantial source of education results from prepping ethical theories. Philosophical education key to education because it promotes critical advocacy skills and unique applications of thought. Philed outweighs topic ed because it's more abstract. Empirically verified because our topic arguments are framed by standards. Lastly, Philed key to fairness because comparative ethical theories are necessary to use. Second, standard is reciprocity. Straight ref allows Neg to have a structural advantage because they don't have to defend an NC, meaning that the AC strategy doesn't have a second tier to weigh offense with. Neg may say there's no disadvantage because we're both limited to just an AC, but Neg chose straight ref knowing that the AC would be overwhelmed. Further, the 7-minute dump is inherently irreciprocal. Reciprocity key to fairness because it ensures equal access to the ballot. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you send me that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sending it to you now. 1 second.
For what?
I'm gonna. Oh, right. Over what? That's weird. I'm gonna just email it to you. Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Counterinterpretation is that the NC doesn't require a framework. Standards 1.
Hello? Anthony?
Yo,
I don't know what happened.
alright. Can I start at the voter?
I lost you at the counterinterp.
Oh, alright.
You cut out.
I lost you at the voter. Okay, cool. So, I'll just start it. Counterinterpretation is that the NC doesn't have to have a required framework. Standards 1. Education. Oh, violation. My opponent is clearly trying to tell me that I need a framework. Standards 1. Education. This allows for more substance debate because there won't be time-sucking sessions. There won't be time-sucking. There won't be time-suck ethical theory debates where we basically recycle our back files and just clash those together. We can always get philosophical education at camps or colleges, but this is the one unique opportunity we have to debate the actual topic. This makes it key to education, and the judge for the voter, judge has to vote. The judge has to vote on education because it's the whole reason we do debate and the whole purpose that we actually do credit. People do research and cut cards for the whole reason of being educated, which is one of the main reasons why they do debate. Now, on to my opponent's AC theory show. First, for his first standard A, first turn because substance education is preferred over philosophical education because you can always get philosophical education at colleges, but this is the one chance we have to actually talk about the topic. 2, this is a non-unique argument because it's not unique because philosophical education can be done anywhere. It can be done at school or colleges. Move on to his B. First reputation. I'm still prepping an NC framework. All it's being is replaced. So the time I would put into debating the framework is still there. I'm just not debating a framework and I have more substance. 2. turn, because prep more substance framework. This is when you prep more substance when you require frameworks, you're just recycling back files, which makes it so that there's less education being gained. Moving on to a C point. One, there's no warrant why it promotes educational thoughts. You don't provide any explanation of why that occurs. Therefore, you should just drop that argument. Two, this is non-unique because unique application of thought occurs in everyday activities. Debate isn't the only place. It's actually one of the least places you would have unique application of thought. Moving on to his second standard. One, this is I still have to defend the NC. I don't know why you said I don't have to. Two, you can't change the time skews. If you want to complain about time, then that's your own problem. Three, the turn, because you have structural advantage. Because you have the actual structural advantage because you prep the entire framework, whereas I'm just going off what you're saying. Therefore, you have all of your 2 months of prep, whereas I'm just using critical thinking skills. So I'm the one with actual structural disadvantages.
Okay. So you can hear me, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't think that was bad. I think that there's a lot that can be improved. So the first thing is, I think the strongest offense for why you should be allowed to concede the Neg framework is actually fairness-based offense, not education-based offense.
Oh, okay.
So let's think about it this way. When the affirmative reads a framework, they get to choose what framework they read, right?
Right.
So they got to choose the framework. Now, does a framework win you the debate round?
No.
So what they got to do is they got to explain to the judge what they think the proper framing for the round should be.
Mm-hmm.
Does that not mean then that you reciprocally should get to choose whether or not you agree with that proper framing?
Uh-huh.
So they got to choose which framing they wanted. You get to choose if you agree with that framing.
Right.
That's the reciprocity.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, the other so basically that's a link turn to reciprocity. That reciprocity is actually a reason you should be allowed to read an NC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next argument that you should definitely be making here, on the fairness-based argument, is that it's an issue of Negflex. Now, here's what I mean by that. In a world where you have to read a framework, the negative loses a ton of flexibility.
Right.
And so the negative had flexibility, and the negative gets it basically becomes way too easy to affirm.
Mm-hmm.
Because the affirmative knows that the negative cannot just concede to its framework.
Right.
And so strategically, the affirmative should should be forced to defend the AF if the neg chooses to respond to the AF.
Okay.
So neg flexibility is hurt here, and neg flexibility is important.
Right.
There's only a 7% difference between affirming and negating in terms of how much harder affirming is. That means that you're making it probably way too easy to affirm.
Okay.
So now I think the next thing is you're weighing between topic education and philosophical education. It's definitely decent, but you're missing a really easy big argument.
Right. Okay.
And that argument is that topic education is unique to debate rounds. Like, you only get 2 months to have topic education, but you can have philosophical education on every topic.
Right.
That makes sense, yeah?
Yeah.
So, not only is it an issue of you can learn philosophical education in other contexts, It's also an issue of this is the only unique context in which you can learn the topic. Like,
Yeah.
the topic will change in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So then, the next form of arguments needs to be uh, more defense against philosophical education.
Right.
Your defensive argument is that um, basically that we have other opportunities to learn phil ed.
Right.
That's a pretty good defensive argument, but I think there's also more that you can make.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, uh, a great example of another phil ed like defensive argument you can make is that philosophy education and debate doesn't make any sense because we're not trying to discover ethical truth. We're just trying to win a round. So there's a perverse incentive for how we go about having philosophy debate.
Oh, okay. So you're basically saying like the purpose of debate isn't ethical theories.
Right.
Okay. Makes sense.
Another argument you can make is that philosophy education in LD is too blippy for us to gain meaningful knowledge from it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now against the reciprocity claim. I think that you need to make arguments about how if you straight ref the AF should be able to win that debate.
Wait. The AF should, but you're the neg.
Right, so you need to point out that it's not too hard to affirm. You can still affirm.
Oh, okay. Defensive argument.
Yeah. So the first argument here would be that the AF gets to frontline the AC,
Mm-hmm.
which means frontline solve.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, basically the AF is saying that it's too hard to affirm when the negative responds to the AF case, but your point is that when the negative responds to the AF case, you had several weeks to write up the 1AR. Like, you can predict my responses and then prepare for them.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think the next argument needs to be that when you read a framework, it makes the 1AR, it distracts the focus of the 1AR such that the 1AR has to accomplish 2 goals now.
Mm-hmm.
Either the 1AR has to win its framework and then offense back to its framework, or the 1AR has to win
offense back to the negative framework. If the 1AR wins offense back to the negative framework, it seems to be doing the same thing it tells the neg it can't do against the AF.
Oh, can you explain that?
Yeah. So this shell is saying, look, you can't beat me on underneath my own framework.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you concede to the negative framework and beat them underneath their framework, wouldn't you have been doing the same thing?
Oh, okay, I see. That makes sense.
So this means that when the negative reads a framework, as the interpretation I read wants you to do, then the affirmative has to win 2 layers of the debate.
Uh-huh.
And then the argument is that winning 2 layers of the debate is a lot harder than just winning 1.
Okay. Wait, and so Av has to win 2 layers because he can't agree to the Neg framework?
Right, because if he did, he would be a hypocrite.
Wait, but why does he have to agree with the Neg framework? Can't he just like stick with his Av framework?
Right, but then my point is you also have to win offense underneath your AF framework. You have to do both. You have to win your framework, and then you have to win offense to it.
Okay.
Right? We talked about how you win a debate round by winning framework and offense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine. I kind of get that. So you're saying it's not fair because it'll be harder for your opponent to win offense maybe, since they can't directly refute your case.
Yeah, since they can't concede to your case.
Okay.
So the way the argument works is that it is more fair to let me concede to your framework than to force me to argue against your framework.
Okay. Wait, say that last part again.
Yeah. It is more fair to let me concede to your framework than to argue against your framework. Like, your life is harder when I argue against your framework.
Hey, just a quick question. Like, when you go to tournaments, do people like usually disclose?
Usually, yeah. It's become a norm.
Because like this would just be one part of your speech. So unless you have like pre-prepped back files to counter this, like when during your prep time, writing all of this stuff out takes a lot of time. And obviously you can't spend all of your prep time, which I kind of did on one point, right?
Yeah, I mean, ideally you're able to think of all these arguments on the fly.
On the fly?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the
Alright.
goal, is to teach you to be able to do that.
Oh, okay. I see. So you're literally just looking at your flow and just kind of like spreading and reading your opponent's arguments and just instantly jacking up arguments of your own.
Exactly. And
Sense.
practice makes perfect here.
All right. I see. Cool.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 minutes of prep time, and let's see how you do in your redo.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so we're going to listen to your redo version of the speech. I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay. Counterinterpretation is that NC doesn't require frameworks. Standards. 1. Fairness. And the app chooses its own framework. As the app gets to choose its own framework so that it has 2 months to prep out its entire framework. So the next should just have the same equal opportunity to either reject or accept this framework. This is key to reciprocity. This is also because of the strat skew. App should have to defend his own app, because if he doesn't, then the Neg's flexibility is completely screwed, because Neg also needs the option to be able to agree with the app, because sometimes there are parts of the app framework that Neg probably wants to adapt to. Now the app says that Neg can't agree to his own framework. That means that the app can't also just directly respond to my arguments. Because that would make him hypocritical. This makes it harder for the app to win if they can't concede Neg framework. So therefore they would have to win on both layers for them to win this debate. So it would be more fair to let me concede his framework than force me to argue against his framework. Now, moving on to his standards. First, philosophical education. First is turn, because substance education should be preferred over philosophical education, which is what my side promotes. Because philosophical education can always be achieved through college or schooling, but we only get a certain amount of time to prep for this topic, which changes every 2 months, which makes it so that our education is unique to this topic. Next. 2. This is a non-unique philosophical education argument, because we can get philosophical education literally everywhere at school or college. 3. I'm still prepping an NC framework. It's just being replaced with more substantive material. 3. Turn, because I prep more substance frameworks, and 4th. I prep 3. I prep more substance frameworks, and you're just recycling your back files for your ethical theories. You're not writing a new ethical theory through each round. 5. No, that's 4. 4. There's no warrant why you promote education or educational thoughts. 6. This is unique application of thought that is applied to everyday activities. This is a non-unique argument, because unique application of thought can occur in literally any scenario. You don't have to do debate, just get unique applications of thought. 7. I'm not trying to find philosophical truth in the debate round, and neither are you. Hence the trophy that we could win if we won this tournament. Therefore, also 8. These ethical theories that have been debated over many years are going to be solved through one high school debate round. So there's actually this makes it impact mitigation, because you don't actually achieve philosophical education. You don't actually achieve philosophical truth. You're just recycling your back files. So moving on to your second standard. First, let's see. Damn it, Kid wrote so small. Oh shit, can't see it. Okay, let's just move on. First, Frontline solved, because you have 2 months to prep direct responses to your framework, which is exactly what you should be prepping for. 2, this is a turn, because you have the structural advantage. You have been prepping out your entire framework for 2 months, whereas I would have to just go along with your framework and use my own critical thinking skills and have to think on my feet. Yeah, that's it. Thought I had 3, but I can't find it.
Okay. So first thought here is that there's an echo. Why is there an echo?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Whoa.